and welcome to Good Nightmare, a podcast where today in particular we're going to be covering something kind of unusual. Today's episode is not about one particular case as such, but rather a very strange phenomenon. This case is brought to you by Abby, or at Dumb Ravioli, or the founder of Promote the Pods on Twitter. We were chatting one day about what sort of cases I might look into, and she immediately came up with this one. If you would like to make a suggestion for a future podcast episode, please be sure to send me a DM or tweet me. I'm always taking recommendations. Since August 20, 2007, there have been several detached feet washing up on the shore of the Salish Sea in British Columbia, Canada, and Washington, US. Thankfully, not all at once. To date, there have been at least 18 reported cases of bodiless feet still in their shoes washing up on the coast. Strangely enough, foul play is not often suspected. Usually the feet come from victims of alleged suicides or accidental deaths. This isn't a new occurrence either. In Vancouver, 1887, a foot washed up on the shore, leading the place it landed to be called Leg in Boot Square. Not very original, but probably much nicer than Dismembered Body Parts Beach or the like. In 1914, there was a report in the Vancouver Sun that a leg in a high boot had washed ashore. The leg was assumed to have belonged to a man who had drowned in the river in the previous summer. Although, given the frequency with which this occurs, it's completely unnecessary to try to trick people into believing they've discovered one of these feet. There have been several hoaxes. One of these fake feet was discovered on June 18, 2008, and was discovered to be an animal paw, put into a sock and shoe and stuffed with seaweed. No arrest has been made as yet, but the perpetrator could be charged with public mischief. In 2011, there were a number of shoes apparently washing up on shore, stuffed with raw meat. One of the reasons this washing up of single feet seems so strange, other than the obvious, is that no other body parts tend to wash up with the feet, and the feet often show up only one at a time. A possible explanation for this is that when people have drowned in rivers or oceans, whether by accident or other causes, their body will naturally break apart in the water. The joints are usually the first to go. The feet washing up tend to be found in running shoes, which helps to prevent decay and also acts as a flotation device, carrying the feet on waves until they reach the shore. It's near impossible to determine the origins of the feet in terms of who they belong to or where they originated, as they may be carried as far as 1,000 miles or 1,600 kilometres on the water and are also often covered in a soap-like substance that the body naturally produces during decay. A human body can actually remain intact in water for up to 3 decades, given the right conditions. So it's also difficult to tell when the foot's owner met their end. Solving the cases of these washed-up feet, however, is not impossible. One foot has been identified as having belonged to a man who was known to be deeply depressed. It's assumed that he committed suicide and his body ended up in the water. Another 2 feet were identified as belonging to a woman who was known to have committed suicide by jumping from the Patillo Bridge in New Westminster, British Columbia. This is a rare case. Finding 2 feet at once is considered an anomaly, with a 1 in a million chance of it happening. The first case of a foot washing up was strange. By 4, it was curious. And now at 18 cases, who knows what to call it. These cases of the 2 alleged suicides support the theory that most of the feet belong to victims of suicide or accidents. As far as I can tell, none of the feet have been determined as belonging to victims of crime. Though with only a foot as evidence, how would we ever know? These cases have been reported around the world, from Australia, South Africa, Canada to the USA. David Letterman actually asked two of his Canadian audience members about the phenomenon during a show. While this isn't the first time that I've heard of these dismembered feet washing up, this is the first time that I've really looked into it. And if you're interested in further reading, the novel Dregs by Jorn Lee Horst is inspired by these events. Horst is a Norwegian police officer who gives a new explanation for these disowned body parts. Another novel, The Restless Dead, by Simon Beckett, uses the discovery of feet as a backstory when protagonist Dr. David Hunter discovers a severed foot in a river. Both sound like excellent reads for a day at the beach. Make sure to hit me up on social media and let me know if you've heard of this. You've probably heard it on an episode of My Favourite Murder if you listen. Also, let me know your theories. Do you think these really are all from accidental or suicide deaths? Or do you think something a little bit more sinister could be at play? I mean, according to Dexter and other popular crime shows, bodies are best dumped in rivers and oceans. Not to give you any ideas. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you have time, rate and review Good Nightmare on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. And please email me at goodnightmare_s@outlook.com with any fairy tales, historical crime stories, mysteries, or suggestions for the show. You can also follow me on social media on Instagram and Twitter at Good Nightmare. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this creepy tale. Good luck sleeping tonight. Sweet dreams.
Are you fascinated by mysterious legends, the paranormal, or UFOs?
Do stories of murder, missing persons, and con men send you down internet rabbit holes?
Did you grow up watching the TV show Unsolved Mysteries?
Does Robert Stack's voice haunt your nightmares?
Then our podcast is for you.
I'm Liz.
And I'm Samantha.
Join us every Wednesday as we discuss the original Robert Stack episodes of Unsolved Mysteries.
Follow along with us on Amazon Prime or just tune in for our weekly podcast.
We are on iTunes, Google Play, and social media at Perhaps It's You.